Hello everyone and welcome to the Skyreach Challenge Mode Gold guide. I'm your host Babyjace, the Blood Death Knight for this group. Before we start, I want to explain how we get onto the middle of the barrier before you start asking. There's two ways to get on top of this barrier as far as I am aware of. The first is using a Warlock. You go into Demonology spec and Demon Leap up onto the barrier, and you can use your gateway to put gateway portals right above the ledge on the right hand side. There's like a ledge that you can jump on top of, and it separates like the platform from the sky where you just drop down. So you want to put the gateway right above that ledge. It's kind of hard to know where to put it at first. Just keep trying, you'll eventually get it. But you're going to want to put it there so that the rest of your group can take the gateway to the top of the barrier. You can also, I think there's a way you can do a summoning portal for the middle of the thing, and you can just summon people and they'll end up on top of it. Another way you can do it is having a hunter disengage on top of the barrier, and if he is an engineer, he can use a swap blaster, and the swap blaster will swap places with a hunter and a member, and he can just do this for all of your party members. If you don't have any way to get on top of the barrier, it's okay. You can just use invisibility potions to skip the entire first area. You're just going to want to skip everything until you get to the three little birds, the three cursed birds with the one Oroka right before the first boss, or the Arakoa. You're going to want to pull those four with the first boss to make time. Once you've figured out what you need to do for this first area, you're just going to pull it. So as you see here, we take the first four mobs and we just go straight to the first boss. We pull the boss and we lust on the pull, so you're going to want to use your lust here, all cooldowns. Make sure you're single targeting the boss and you're just passively cleaving onto the adds. You don't want to actually cleave onto the adds if it reduces your damage that you do to the boss. So things like Blood Boil, maybe Rain of Fire. Oh, I guess you wouldn't want to use Rain of Fire anymore since they did nerf that. But, you know, things like that. Just passively cleave. You don't want to actually lose damage on the boss. You need to do as much damage as you can to this boss. This boss does the exact same things on Heroic. He will throw out two of the wind turning things before he does his giant windmill. You just don't get hit by the wind. They do a lot of damage. Just make sure you keep your tank up during this because he will still be tanking the other mob, and it is a lot of damage that you have to heal through. Once the giant windmill is done, he will call down a laser beam onto your party. Just whoever has the laser beam, kite it. Be warned, it can go on the tank, it can go on melee, so it's pretty unfortunate, but it does happen. And once that is done, he just repeats those. He'll summon another two things, and then he'll do his giant windmill again. But you're looking to kill him when he starts the second giant windmill or when he ends it. You don't really want to go much farther past that because it's just too much. There's just too much going on the platform. But once you do kill him, you need to be careful with this pull. You want to let the Dread Raven go to the left side. You do not want to pull the right side. It has two healers. It's just too many. Once you are here on the left side, you want everyone to nuke down the Adept. The Adept is the healer. You cannot let him get his heals off. It's super important you kill the Adept first, and then you focus on the Gale Caller because they will cast Cyclone, and that is actually a Cyclone. It will make your guys immune, one of your players immune, but they will do no damage. As for tank positioning, you're going to want to tank it so that your back is facing the right side's adds, because what the Dread Raven does is he will first throw you 180 degrees and then he will do a charge. So if your back is facing the adds on the right side, like as you see me, he will throw you first against the wall and then he'll punt you again against the wall. And once you've killed everything except the bird, you're going to want to go ahead and pull the next Skyreach the next Skyreach bird thing that's like next to the second boss, you just want to pull him with this. It doesn't really do too much damage. Just don't stand in his starfall that he does, or his sunfall. Once you've killed both of those, though, you're gonna want to, let your healer get mana if they need mana, and you're gonna pull this boss. This boss is probably the hardest boss in the instance, and it's very important that you don't mess up the healing beam that he does. You cannot let him get the healing beam. As a tank, if you can't help it, you're just gonna have to eat the smashes that he does when he does do the healing beam, because you cannot let it touch him. For the most part, though, you are going to want to dodge these smashes because they do a lot of unnecessary damage. Another way that you can avoid the smashes while also not letting the beam go to him is you can go to the far left side of the beam. So like you're barely like getting in between the boss and the beam, and then when he starts doing a smash, you just go to the right side, and the beam will still follow you. So you can do that. And that is a way to avoid the smashes. Other than that, though, he does the exact same thing as on Heroic. He just does way more damage, and he has a third additional beam, whereas on Heroic he has 2 beams. So this boss is just pretty much a DPS check. You just need a DPS and burn him down before he wipes your raid, because you can't take too many laser beams with his burst ability. It's eventually going to start killing your party members. But other than that, this is a pretty this is a mechanically easy fight. It's just very healing intensive, and you just need to get used to how the fight works out at first. But once you've worked it out, it's not too bad. Once you've killed this boss, though, you're gonna make your way to the next pack. Now, if you're a Death Knight, you can pretty much cheese this entire next pull. If you're not a Death Knight, this is probably one of the hardest pulls in the entire instance. But if you are a Death Knight, you're going to want to army here and pull both sets of birds. And just let your army taunt everything, and just spam AoE, Defile, Blood Boil. Just spam all of your AoE on these birds. These birds have to die. They do a massive amount of damage to the army, so you only have about 10 to 15 seconds to kill these before they start before they start attacking your tank. But once you do kill these, you're going to want to go to the next pull. But if you're not a Death Knight, you're going to have to use major cooldowns on those birds, and you're going to probably have to kite them. You're also probably only going to be able to pull them one at a time. I highly doubt you're going to be able to pull both of them at the same time, unless you have maybe a Brewmaster where you can kite them or something. They just do way too much damage. But once you have killed them, you're going to do the next pull. You're going to kill the Skyreach Raven Whisperer while you're cleaving onto the birds. The birds do charge out, so you're going to want to have everyone kind of stacked close to the tank so that they don't charge too far away. And you can just keep cleaving them all. It's not really a hard pull. You don't want to pull this pack, though, if you have stacks of the debuff from the previous bird pull, as this will kill your tank incredibly fast. Once you've killed that pack, the boss should come down. Now this boss is a little harder on challenge mode than it was on Heroic. His Pierce Armor ability comes twice as fast. So when you see here, it should say 5 seconds left on Pierce Armor on my timer. He's actually using it then, so he uses it every 5 seconds. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use your active mitigation every single time. So I'm a Death Knight. My active mitigation is going to be Death Strike. So I'm going to Death Strike before every Pierce Armor, and he'll never get his stacks up. Now, if you do get a stack of Pierce Armor, it's very important you use your active mitigation to not allow it to stack again. Pierce Armor, when it's stacking, does way too much damage. So you're going to want to do that. Obviously, same on Heroic, when he uses Quills, get behind the pillar. It'll kill you pretty fast if you don't. Whenever he summons a Solar Flare, don't kill them. For the most part, we never killed Solar Flares, we just kited them around. As killing one could cause too many to just summon. It's just not worth it. It's just a giant waste of DPS. If you are able to, you can just stun one of them as soon as they spawn, and if your DPS is high enough, you can kill it right then, and it'll just die right where it spawned, and it shouldn't be too big of a problem. But you're gonna want to just kite them around for the most part. Don't get hit by them, and just keep killing the boss. You don't really need to worry about them. They don't really do too much. Other than that, this boss is pretty much the same as on Heroic. But once you have killed the boss, you're gonna go to the wind maze. Now you can't see it on this video because it was bugged, but the wind maze is still there. Don't touch the birds. The birds do a lot of damage. I almost died here. So you definitely don't want to get hit by the birds. Just do the maze, the wind maze. It's not really difficult. Don't charge though, because, or not charge, don't roll. Our monks seem to roll a lot off of that. It's just not worth rolling. Just run through it. Once you get to the top though, you're going to pull all these mobs. Make sure you are killing the Adept of the Dawn. It is the healer. Kick his solar showers. Use stuns on his uninterruptible cast and just nuke it down. You want to kill this pretty fast. Once he's dead though, this pack isn't really like too much of a problem. As you see, we killed it pretty fast. Now for this room, you're going to want to pull the Dread Raven first. Mainly because if the Dread Raven comes into one of the packs that you're killing, it'll almost always wipe you. It does way too much to your tank. It's just too much to deal with. Its charge does too much damage. So you're gonna want to pull this Dread Raven and tank it in the doorway, the little doorway that I'm tanking it in, just so he doesn't knock you off. As the Dread Ravens are really, really annoying. They're probably, I think out of all the challenge modes, I hate the Dread Ravens the most out of anything. They're just so annoying. But I mean, you'll kill it. Just don't get knocked off. And once you killed it, you can go up to the left or the right. Doesn't matter. You're gonna need to pull both sides because they just do too much. So when you get to either side, you need to kill the there's little phoenixes. One is a life phoenix. I don't know the exact name because it just died so fast. I never have to worry about it as a tank. But it's called like the life phoenix or something like that. These phoenixes, when they die, they will full heal everything around them. So you want to kill them first, and then you want to kill the adept. Make sure you keep kicking the adept, interrupting it so it's not healing anything. And once you've killed the adept, you're going to want to kill the chakra masters. Chakra masters just do so much damage. I'm pretty sure they do the most damage out of any mob in this instance, just by themselves. But once you've killed that little pack, you're gonna go to the other side, do the exact same thing. On this side, I believe there's a golem, so you're gonna want to kill the life pack familiar. I think that's what it's called, life pack familiar. So yeah, that's what it's called, life pack familiar. So you want to kill the life pack familiar, and once you kill that, you're gonna kill the defense construct, making sure you kick the shield that the defense construct does. And once you've killed the defense construct, you're going to kill the chakra master. Again, Chakra Master does a lot of damage. You really need to kill him because if you're going to wipe to anything on these pulls, it is going to be the Chakra Masters that are going to wipe you. Once you're done with both those packs, you're going to want to invis past this robot. We did not invis, and that was a gigantic mistake. This robot deals an incredible amount of damage. The damage that he does way more damage than the boss does on this fight. So you're going to want to use your invis pot past the robot. Or another thing you can do is have a hunter pull it and go all the way to the left and use feign death while the rest of your party is going to the right, and hopefully it'll reset and you don't have to worry about it. But regardless, do not pull it with this boss. It's a gigantic mistake. You will wipe. Once you do get past the golem, you're going to pull the boss. It's the exact same thing as on Heroic. You need to stun the Solar Zealot so they don't drop someone off the ledge. You cannot grip them on challenge mode, unfortunately. He'll also do the laser beam. Just run away from that. Again, it can be used on your tank. When the golems come in, you want to use crowd control on them. So frost trap, things that can crowd control machines, you're gonna want to use it on the golem. As you can see there, we used a frost trap on it, and we just ignored it for the entire encounter. It was not a problem at all, so you just ignore that. If you do get a second one coming in, you can just taunt it, get it into melee on the boss, and just use a focus kick macro so that you can interrupt it while you're DPSing the boss. You don't want him to use shields on the boss. It's too much. You'll probably lose a lot of time if the boss is getting shielded. But other than that, this boss is exactly the same as on Heroic. He just fills the platform up with a lot of fire. Don't stand in it. Kick his solar burst whenever you can, because it does do a lot of damage to the tank. Kick the shield on the construct when you can, as that shields the tank. CC it if you can CC it, do that. But other than that, this place isn't really too difficult. Hopefully you don't pull the robot like we did and have to suffer through that. But eventually you will kill the fight, so it's not too hard of a place. Once you do kill the fight, hopefully you do get your gold. If you don't, you're going to want to maybe do some pulls a little better. Try not to wipe as often. We almost wiped a few times on this one. But this CM is pretty straightforward, so there's not too much difficulty in that. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and comment. If you like the guide, go ahead and subscribe. I don't believe they will fix the barrier in between the start and the first boss, but if they do somehow fix that, I will re-upload a guide showing you what to do, you know, to invis, or how to do the first few pulls. I'll make a guide showing you what to do. I won't leave you out in the dark on that. But go ahead and click on any of the videos you see in front of you, and enjoy getting all 8 of 8 golds.